Hello and welcome. I'm Stacy, your Disney hotel lady, and today I have Ashley with me from Ashley Dixon Shenanigans on Instagram. Hi, Ashley.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you today. But first off, for those viewers who may not be familiar with you, tell us a little about yourself and your history with Disney and your uh, content creation journey.
Perfect. So I am Ashley Dixon. I live in Utah. I was born in Southern California, about a 30-minute drive to Disneyland. And so as a baby and young child, I went to Disney a lot. And then when we moved to Utah, I didn't go hardly at all. And I really missed it. I knew I wanted to be, a Disney person, a Disney family someday as an adult. And then once I got married and had kids, I found out really quickly that there's a lot more to a successful, amazing Disneyland trip than just showing up. We went in 2012 at the time I had two little boys. And it really was, I tell the story, it really was the Disneyland trip from hell. It was so bad. I mean, everything that possibly could have went wrong. And looking back on that, 90% of the things could have been prevented if I would have just known better. So when I got home from that trip, my husband gave me an ultimatum. He's like, Disney is horrible. If that's what it is, we're never doing that again. So I kind of launched myself into figuring out how to do a Disney trip better. Learned everything that I could learn. And then I became that resident friend that friends and family and neighbors would come to, oh, I'm planning a Disneyland trip. Will you help me? I have questions. And so I started a Facebook group just as a hobby at the time. I think it was 2016 by then. As a place where Disney people could talk about Disneyland trips and learn from each other. And just kind of a fun thing. Didn't take it seriously until COVID hit and the world went nuts. And social media suddenly became this place where everyone was the worst version of themselves. There was so much drama and fighting online, and it really did a number on me. And so I was like, I have this Disneyland group. Let's make it this really safe, positive, happy space, just filled with joy. And I'm going to really focus on it. So I got real intentional about posting content all the time. And then when the parks reopened, when Disneyland reopened in 2021, the group just exploded, had all of this momentum and growth. And I'm actually really proud of myself because from then to now, I've figured out what I wanted that Facebook group to be. Really, I am like a hardcore rule follower. So we have a set of rules in there that we do not do drama. We do not do negativity in any form. And I'm really good at holding the reins in that group and making sure that people feel safe and they're not going to get bullied for asking questions, and that they have all of the resources to be able to learn and have a good Disney trip. So started the Instagram also just as a fun thing, and that has grown as well. The best part really is, along with helping people, is just meeting all of the other creators out there. I mean, in and out of the Disney community, just content creators as a whole has been super cool. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. That's who I am.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just got accepted into your Facebook group, and I was trying to read through all the I forget what you call them, the mandatory posts or something, but I was like, I am ready to read it all, but there is a lot here. There is a lot. So
yeah, featured posts. That's like the requirement when you come into the group. You have to read those featured posts because like 80% of the questions that get asked are answered there. So that already will give you, even if you come into the group and never ask a question, if you just read those posts, you're going to go away being like, okay, I got this. We're ready to go.
So. Yes, that that looks like an amazing resource. I do plan to read all of it at some point. So, okay, so for those, like you said yourself at that one time that motivated you to start, who are coming to Disneyland for the very first time, or Disney World, we can talk about both coasts if you like. But what is your advice as far as what they should be looking for in their hotel accommodations on their first trip to Disneyland?
So, and you and I talked about this briefly. A lot of times people want to know what is the best hotel. And that's all they'll say. Where should I stay? What is the best hotel? And I do not have an answer for that unless you tell me who you are. Like, I need more information from you. There's a difference between what's the best hotel, period, and what is the best hotel for me, because I am bringing my family to Disneyland. We've never been. We have 2 little kids, a baby and a 3-year-old. We're doing 5 days. I want downtime. I want to be able to stay close enough to the parks. And we want a really good swimming pool because we want to be able to spend time at the hotel. You know, like, if you give me background information of who you are and kind of what you want, then I can give you a bunch of awesome recommendations. So a lot of times when people just lead out the gate with, what hotel should I stay at? I will ask them questions. I'll be like, well, who's going? You know, is it you and your spouse and it's an adult trip and you're celebrating an anniversary? Because I've got hotels for that. Is it a family with young kids? Is it a family with teenagers? Is it, you know, what's the most important things? A really good pool, proximity, free breakfast, price, bigger rooms. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. So if you can tell me about yourself and what kind of you're looking for, then I can at least have a direction to go in.
Exactly. I love that answer. It's very hard to kind of crown a blanket's best hotel because everyone's needs and preferences are all different. So it's better to make a more personal recommendation for people. Okay, so then going for the personal side, in your opinion, what has been your favorite or several favorites of the hotels you've stayed at on your Disneyland trips?
Oh my gosh, there are a lot. So I know that I have a lot of friends who are content creators, and they find a hotel or 2 hotels, and those become like their home hotels. They love it there. They stay there every time. They are loyal to that property. And that's awesome. I will never be that person. My number one goal is to stay at as many different properties as I can. So I actually made a list of, you know, all the different hotels that I've stayed at over the last few years. And there are a few on my list that I have stayed at more than once. But I want to discover, you know, all that I can. I want to stay at all the different places. So because I've stayed at so many places, I do have a lot of favorites. People ask often about this, specifically about the Disneyland resort properties, Disneyland Hotel, Grand California, and Pixar Place. I've stayed at all 3. I think that all 3 are pretty amazing. And also they're not going to be for everyone. Specifically based on price. They are the top tier. You know, if you're on a splurge trip and you have the budget for it and what they offer is important to you, then that is great. And I totally think people should stay there if they can. But if you can't afford to stay at the Disneyland Hotel or the Grand Californian, there is going to be a hotel somewhere in that area that is going to be perfect for you. And we're going to find it. So like some of my favorites that I have stayed at recently, I'm looking at my list. I stayed at Tropicana last fall. I loved that. Being right across the street is just amazing, especially after long nights when you're just so tired. So those hotels on that little strip right across the street on Harbor Boulevard really are worth their weight in gold to be that close. I love that. My kids really love Cambria because they have a really cool water park. So they have water slides and a giant hot tub, and they have free breakfast, which for a family is a big deal. So
I didn't
we
know that
loved
about
Cambria.
Cambria.
Loved Cambria. That was a big hit with my family. I love Element. Element feels sophisticated. You walk in and it feels sleek and little bit more deluxe feel of it, but it's still usually pretty affordable. And they have, I see my picture up there. Element has one of the best free breakfasts I've ever seen. They have like healthy options. They keep it really well stocked out there, and things change every day. And so the Element having a free breakfast while also feeling clean and kind of sophisticated and fancy is pretty cool. And it is technically walkable. It's like a 10-minute walk. So I do love Element. What else? I love Castle Inn and Suites. This is one that I feel like is debatable for people, because some people will stay at Castle Inn and Suites and be like, why is this one of your favorites? And here's why. Okay. It is consistently among the cheapest of the closest hotels. So it's like a 7-minute walk from Castle Inn to the parks. They have free parking, which you don't find hardly anywhere, especially along the real close ones. They have bigger rooms, and honestly, it's a family-owned and operated property, and I am obsessed with the owners. Like, I have met them so many times personally, and they're the kindest, sweetest, most thoughtful, amazing people. And like last year, they volunteered out of the goodness of their hearts to host a family that I was sending on a Disneyland trip that I had fundraised for. They were like, yep, we will take care of them. Like, just send them. And totally did not have to do that. They are just those people. So I always want to support them. There's things about that property. Like, I really hope that someday they will get new beds. Their beds are too hard for me. Other than that, and the rooms are a little bit, darker, but I feel like that fits the vibe. It's like castle and medieval. So I really do love Castle Inn as well. That's one that I would stay at a lot. I'm actually going back to stay again next month. So,
okay.
Sorry, that was a lot, but I can keep going. I can talk forever.
No, that's perfect. I wanted to ask you about Castle Inn because I know you mentioned that like last week, I think, on your Instagram, and I had just stayed there for the first time. I have it in my queue to write about and review, but I didn't mind it being dark. I need it dark when I sleep, so that was, but like you said, the beds, that's like the worst bed I've slept in since I started doing this. So.
The beds definitely need updating, and it's an older property, so you're not going to get amazing water pressure in the shower.
Yeah,
the issues that might come with older properties. But I can see past that because my heart. They have my heart.
Yeah, it's totally super cute. I can see kids really loving, when I went into the pool area, you can go up on those turrets to like the balcony area and see out over the parking lot. I could just see kids loving that. But yeah, most of the hotels right across the street there are older and suffer from that same set of older building type of issues. So, but they do have that advantage of being so close and walkability and all that. So you mentioned that one of the reasons you love the Castle Inn is because it's consistently one of the better priced for across the street. Are there tips you can give to help someone find a good deal on their prospective hotel for their trip?
So you and I are both partners with Getaway Today. I always book with Getaway Today, and they always have, so they've been working with Disneyland for over 30 years now. And they've been partnering with all of these different area hotels for so many years that they can get really, really good deals. So right now I know they have, at any given time, they'll have, like, if you book with them, you get free or reduced parking. You might get free breakfast. Right now they have a bunch of hotels that have fourth night free. So guys pay for 3 nights, but you get the fourth night for free. And then they have a layaway program where you can pay over time. So a lot of what I do always will circle back around somehow to working with Getaway Today, because they'll just make sure that you get the best pricing and they'll take really good care of you. So that's my number one tip, is to, like, if you know your date, like, you know, kind of like when you want to go to Disneyland, you go to their website, you plug in your dates, and you see like what hotel availability pops up, and just kind of scan through the hotels and see which one might stand out to you. And then ask about it, and then come ask us about it. Like, hey, have you seen this hotel? I looked at it. It looks really nice. What do you think? And I will be like, well, settle in. Let's talk about it. Oh, that's a good tip.
All right. Yeah, I love that. And I think too, what perhaps your average person booking a trip might not understand is those of us who are going a lot, if we use the same company, that says something, right? Because, and it may not, I will admit, I don't always book with them. I do price compare, but that's good too, because then you can see when they do have a good deal and how good it is if you do that little bit of research and do the comparing. And so but yeah, I'm just really happy with them. They're just nice people, and they've always been great to me to work with, which I'm new. You've worked with them longer, but
they're awesome. One of the big things is that I love is that if you book your hotel with them and then some other deal somewhere else pops up, like that hotel specifically has some sort of a sale, or you find a crazy low price on some other like random travel site somewhere, most of the time, like 90% of the time, Getaway Today can go in and adjust the price so that they can price match. So if they're not already the lowest price, they can be the lowest price. Between the time you book and the time you travel, they can go in and adjust things. So that's really nice too.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, because that is really important. Because I don't know about you, but my personal advice too to people is don't use those third-party sites, because when you book with them, they might have a great price, but if anything else should happen, you're just not covered. You're going to be left out to dry, or hung out to dry. So if you find that price, just go to Getaway Today and they can help you.
Yeah.
And you'll be much more taken care of.
Yeah. Lots of horror stories with some of those other third-party sites. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that helps us into the next topic of do's and don'ts. Don't use a third-party site to book. You can use it to research, but what else would you say on your do's and don'ts list?
I think you have to realize going into it that you might stay somewhere that you love, and you come back to social media or, my Facebook group, and you say, we stayed at this hotel. It was so awesome. I loved it so much. And you're going to have people who are like, what? We stayed there. We hated it. It was horrible. So take other people's opinions with a grain of salt. I can be staying at a hotel at the exact same time that another person is staying at that same hotel, and we might have different experiences. The best you can do is gather as much information as possible, and then go into it positive. Like, Disneyland trips as a whole are going to be way better if you are going into it excited and happy and looking for the good. Like, find the magic, rather than like complaining that everything's so expensive and it's so crowded and oh, it's so hot. And, you know, like, of course you're going to have a horrible time. You're complaining all the time. You're not finding the magic. Find it. It's there. And it's the same thing with hotels. Like, if you go into it being like excited about it, hey, we're here to go to Disneyland. That's what we're here for. And this is going to be this place where we stay so that we can go to Disneyland. Yeah. So take anything negative that you hear, just kind of, if 90 people say something good about a hotel and 10 people say something bad, that's 90-10. Like, it's worth trying. So yeah, I get that a lot with people kind of having their favorites and having the ones that they are ready to, like, they don't stay there. So don't take it too seriously.
Yes, that's true. I part of what I'm hoping I can accomplish with my channel here is once I make it to all of them, if I can go back, if that hotel has seen my experience and made some sort of change or improvement by the time I get back around, I mean, that would just thrill me to death. So just because it's bad one time doesn't necessarily mean it'll be bad the next time, or that for someone else to someone, like, you're not going to have the exact same experience for sure.
Out of this list of hotels that I have stayed at, there really is only one that I really wouldn't want to go back to. There was, I mean, so, and that's saying something. So that means that there are 35 others who I have stayed at and I would stay again. So I think there's a lot more good than not good.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Okay, so again, we're focusing on your personal opinion for now. For you and the way that you travel, your style, what types of features and perks at the hotel are you looking for your ideal stay?
So if it's just me by myself, well, I'll stay anywhere because I want to stay all the places. I had the opportunity recently to stay at the Westin. The Westin was on my vision board to stay there someday. I had toured it. I had seen it. I had been to like events there, but I had never stayed there. And it feels so classy. It's gorgeous. You walk in and you're like, you breathe the air and they must be pumping something into the air that just makes you happy. And that's the best picture ever. They have a room, which as soon as I got to my room, I immediately threw that robe on and went out on the balcony. They have this view of, you know, you can see the Mickey wheel and you can see the Incredicoaster just right off your balcony. But that property was so stunning. And just like, I think it's the perfect, for me, it would be the perfect stay or if I was celebrating something as like an adult only trip. Like my husband and I are on an anniversary and we want to splurge and feel real fancy. Then we would go to Westin. I have 3 boys. My boys are ages 16 to 9 and they are wild and rowdy. Like they are Ralph style. So I would not feel comfortable staying at a Westin or a JW Marriott or something that feels, you know, deluxe. With my 3 boys, I'm like, you guys are tear this place to the ground. But if it were like an adult only trip, then I would stay somewhere like that. With my kids, they love, we do Disneyland as a family enough now that we don't go as hard as we used to. When we used to do Disney, we went hard. We went rope drop to park close, no breaks. And we didn't need a nice, you know, the hotel was just a bed, like just to sleep in. But now that my kids are a little older and we've done Disney more, they appreciate things like a cool pool area, or I appreciate a free breakfast. So like the Courtyard by Marriott, that's right across the street, Courtyard theme park entrance. They have, every room has bunk beds, which my boys are obsessed with bunk beds. So they'll sleep 6 and I have a family of 5, which is great. And they have 2 showers in every room, which when you're done and then they have the cool water slides out there. When you're done at the water park, you can go up and have 2 showers. And it's a super close walk. So my kids like that one. My kids like Cambria because of the pool area. And then my kids really have liked staying at, the Disneyland Hotel and Pixar Place, because now that we've stayed at a lot of other places, they think it's fun. They thought it was fun to see, all the Disney magic that's at the hotel. It's not just a bed to sleep in. It's like the Disney magic carries from the parks to the hotels. So Pixar Place Hotel is, I don't know if I want to say my favorite, but I love the energy of Pixar Place Hotel. It's so bright and fun, and you walk in and there's the giant Pixar ball with the lamp, and Bing Bong might be there. And the only thing I disliked about the Pixar Place Hotel was the elevator situation. And if you do any kind of research about Pixar Place, a lot of people will bring that up. It is a problem.
So
I hope that's something they will work on over time. But so we've loved staying there. I don't know. There's honestly, I'm looking at my list and I'm like, I can say really good things about all of these places that I have stayed. So many options.
I think that's good for people, though, to know that you really can't make a very bad pick. It's like you said, it's attitude and yet timing, and they're all going to be good, have their own pro lists, that everybody there is trying to meet that Disney standard of service. So,
and I used to think years ago that proximity was the very most important thing. And for a lot of people, it still is. They want to be as close as possible. They want to be Best Western Park Place right across the street, or Tropicana, or, those super, super close ones for a short walk, which they're awesome. But I have discovered with time, if you're willing to go a tiny bit farther away, you can find some really great properties for great prices that have a lot of amenities. And the only thing against them is they're not right across the street. So I have fallen in love with a lot of the properties over in the Garden Grove area, like next to the Target across the street.
Yikes.
I've done like the Hampton Inn, the Embassy Suites, Residence Inn, the Sheraton over there, the Delta Hotel. I've done a lot of those in that area. Most of them have free breakfasts. They have big, nice rooms. They have a lot to offer, and they're more reasonably priced usually than the closer hotels. You just have to have a way to get to the parks, which I will either use art or just like Uber Lyft, and it's been fine because what you're saving staying there will offset the cost of transportation.
That's great. I agree. And then being close to Target, if you have the bigger room, you can get those snacks and the water, and because paying $5 for a water inside Disneyland just hurts.
The worst. It's the worst.
Yeah, I do love that they're bringing more water bottle filling stations around the park, though. So that helps.
And they're so cute. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
The new the one by like Alice in Wonderland. It's darling. They're so cute. I love that too. Yeah, Target across the street is awesome. And a lot of those hotels have like kitchen areas. So you have a bigger fridge and microwave and stuff, which is cool.
Yes, totally helpful. Okay, do you have a specific experience or story, good or bad, that you want to share with us?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Let me look at my list. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is really interesting. So, a little bit off of the beaten path is there's 2 sister hotels side by side. They're the Sonesta and the Sonesta ES. Owned by the same people, ran by the same people, literally the same parking lot. And I have stayed at both of them. And I will tell you, the Sonesta ES, I will totally stay at again. I will take my family. They have the bigger rooms. Like you can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom room. They have a free breakfast. It was really good. It was really nice. I enjoyed staying there. And then I've stayed at the Sonesta, not ES, just the regular one. And it wasn't as good. They don't have the bigger rooms. They're just standard, like 2 queen beds. So it wouldn't fit my family anyway. They don't have the free breakfast. I felt like the walls were paper thin. Like the dude in the room next to me was watching Kung Fu movies at 1 a.m. I could hear him. And I'm a heavy sleeper too. So it was, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't stay at Sonesta again. I would give them another chance. I mean, there were things about it that the shower was really cool. I remember specifically because that was my half marathon weekend when I stayed there. But if you're looking at Sonesta and Sonesta ES side by side, I definitely would prefer the ES, which is interesting. You wouldn't think that there'd be that big of a difference, but for me, there was.
Okay, yeah, that is interesting. You mentioned the shower, so it reminds me, I did a budget tour back in October, and I went to several of the more budget-friendly hotels that are farther away, but they're really great prices. And the one that fell lowest on my list, ranking them, actually had my favorite shower. Like, it had the best water pressure, and you could push the button and get the different sprays going, and it had the best shower, but it didn't really have anything else. If you're doing rope drop to park clothes, this is your hotel, because it's literally just a bed and a shower and a fridge. And if that's all you need, it was great. It was the Magnolia Tree Hotel, and that's closer to Target too. But yeah, that shower. Sorry, now I'm going off on that shower was great. I really did like that shower.
I love that. As far as like the very, very cheapest, but still walkable, and if you don't care about amenities at all, just a bed to sleep in, we stayed at King's Inn, which I think technically is walkable. It's on Tropicana, maybe a 12-ish minute walk, 13 minute walk. And it was so basic. I mean, but it was clean. The bed was okay. There was nothing fancy about it, but the price was incredible. So if you just need a bed to sleep in and you want to be walkable, like close enough to walk, that was a good one. Another one is Clarion. I know people talk about Clarion a lot. Mm-hmm. I have no problems with Clarion. Basic, clean. And a lot of times we'll stay there and walk across the street and use the Toy Story bus in the Toy Story lot. And that, don't get me started. People want to fight me. And I'm like, I will go to my grave. I have asked so many cast members, the bus drivers, the security cast members, main gate people, everyone at Disney. And I continually ask, is it okay that I'm staying at the hotel across the street, walking into the Toy Story lot and using that bus to get to Disneyland? And all of them across the years always say yes. It is a courtesy for any guest. You don't have to park here. Because a lot of times people get real upset. They're like, that's like stealing. You're walking in and using the bus without even parking there. That's like stealing. And I'm like, no. If Disney says it's okay, it's okay. So yeah, those hotels right there next to Toy Story lot, like the Homewood Suites and Hotel Lulu and Clarion, you just walk back there, and they have their own security there too sometimes. So you can go through security there. And then when the bus drops you off, you don't have to go through regular security. You just walk in, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I love that you know that, because I have wondered that. I've taken video to try to make something to show how to do that. But then I thought, is that something Disney wants advertised? Like,
across the board, everyone I've talked to, and I continue to ask every time, is this okay that we do this? And they always are like, oh yeah, you're good. Disney just wants to get people to the park, start spending money in the park.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Get you there. So yeah, you're totally fine.
One thing, just to go back quickly, you said the King's Inn on Tropicana. Did you mean on Catella?
Yes, on Catella. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
make sure
on
we
Catella. Catella,
okay.
Harbor, all those streets.
I thought, oh, is she getting confused? Because is there like a shortcut through the Tropicana parking lot or no?
No, sorry. My brain goes faster than my mouth can go and it messes things up. Yeah, thank you for correcting me on
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, so you yourself love to try new things just like I do. But for someone if they don't want to, if they've visited before and they're like, you know what, I want to branch out as well. I want to try something different. Is there anything different they should do as compared to maybe their a first timer planning their first trip? For those who are coming back on a repeat visit, but they're looking for something different hotel wise, do you have any different advice for those in that situation?
I think don't be afraid to stay in different, since we're talking about the crossroads around Disneyland, don't be afraid to branch out to a different area, because a lot of times when you think of nearby hotels, you're thinking right on the harbor strip, up and down Harbor Boulevard. But if you're willing to go different areas, like one of my favorite little quirky hotels that I've stayed at is Best Western Stovall's. And that's also on Catella, but it's down further, kind of at the far back corner away from Disney. And I've walked it. It's still technically walkable, but it feels long because you walk through downtown Disney. So you'd walk from the hotel past Pixar Place Hotel and then through downtown Disney. So it feels a little bit longer, but it's still doable. But they have free breakfast and they have this topiary garden that is the coolest thing. Like you walk through and it feels like you're in this like kind of Alice in Wonderland world with all of these different creature topiaries everywhere. And I'm like, who thinks to do that? You know? And I never would have thought about staying there because it feels like it's not, you know, part of the main area that we constantly think of. So if you're willing to kind of look in different areas, and give some of those hotels a try, you can find some gems, because Stovall's, I think, is a little hidden gem over there.
Okay, you're the second person that's said that on my channel interview here. So I think I have to add that to my next budget tour. I have to add Stovall, so check that out for myself.
And they have 2 swimming pools, which for a smaller, older hotel to have 2 swimming pools and a hot tub is pretty cool. Like, just quirky stuff. I loved there. I would stay there again.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. So I think we're coming towards the end of our conversation here, unfortunately. Is there any final thoughts you'd like to share? Anything we didn't get to touch on, or anything you'd like to emphasize before we?
I think the fact that there are people to act as resources like you and I and a million others who go to Disney often. You know, I always say, people ask me a lot, like, would you consider moving down there and being a local? Because then you can go to Disneyland, you know, all the time, every day, every week. And I'm like, that would be cool. But also, how cool is it that I live out of state and I have to travel to Disneyland like the majority of the people who I'm trying to help? I have to do it the way that they do it. I have to book a plane ticket and know the airports and know the transportation options and know the hotels. And if I were local, I might not have that knowledge. So reach out to us. Like, use us as resources. Do your homework, you know, come up with what your priorities are in a hotel. Maybe do a little bit of research to maybe narrow it down. Like, okay, I've got these 3 or 4 that I've heard good things about. And then ask us, because we're going to give you our opinions too, and hopefully steer you in the right direction, because that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. So, yeah.
Yes. And if we haven't, you know, like, if I haven't, I can say, hey, Ashley, I know has. Go talk to Ashley or Brittany or Casey, or, you know. We kind of have, it's kind of a almost an inner circle type thing with these Disney creators.
I always tell people, if I don't know the answer, I promise you, I know someone who knows the answer.
Yeah.
I can find.
That's great. Well, thank you so very much, Ashley, for being with me today and sharing your experiences and thoughts on the Disneyland hotels. Hopefully, maybe we can do this again sometime.
That would be great. Let me add like another dozen hotels to my list, and then I can talk about those.
Sounds good. We'll give it enough time for we'll have different opinions to share maybe by then.
Love it. Be so great. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been super fun. I love hotels, staying at different places and talking about them.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So as Ashley mentioned, she does have a Facebook group. We'll put a link to that group if you're interested in checking that out in the show notes. And then her Instagram handle is right there on the screen for you, Ashley Dixon Shenanigans. And of course, I am Stacy, your Disney hotel lady. Thanks for watching.